What's up, guys? Joe, your editor with fucked up hair. I haven't cut my hair because I'm lazy. And of course, my buddy Newt's here, holding my hat. Alright, so continuing my response to your questions, right? Now, as always, thank you guys for leaving some questions and suggestions of what you guys want to learn from me. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'm having fun with this. I'm glad I asked for your help. Alright, so this question is from Just Another Broke Nerd, right? And he specifically wants to know more about Davinci timeline management, organization overview, interesting text, set of just appearing, scrolling, swipe, etc. Transition screen template creation, an interesting scene used to transition between different topics, Okay, so he has a few questions here, but the one I want to focus on the most is transitions, right? I think that's something I guess I've been wanting to bring up as well is transitions, because I think that's something that I guess most guys don't use well, in my opinion. And your other questions about text and stuff like that, I'll get back to you in another video. But for this video, I want to just focus on that transitions and organization for your timeline. This is a project for this past Sunday's tech news, right? And as you can see here, there is a structure to getting your timeline in a manner that's very visually appealing, right? Not necessarily because anybody's gonna see this, but the thing is that once you start putting your clips together and all that crap, you want to make sure everything is structured in a manner that you know where everything goes, right? I kind of work from the center out, right? So in other words, everything here in the middle, like this, guys, that's the main A-roll. That's the main footage, right? So this is the main footage, right? This is Paul talking, right? Directly towards the camera, right? Layer 2, this guy here is mainly, this here is mainly the screen capture, right? So I can disable that. It goes back to his Cam A footage when he's talking towards the camera. And this one, when I want to cut towards a screen capture, I can just enable that and it goes into like the screen capture, right? However, the thing is that this thing is a nested clip. So if I double click on it, it opens up in another timeline. And what happens here is that you have two clips. This is actually the main clip from the camera, right? The only thing I did is like I shrunk it down and I put it down in the corner of the screen capture. The reason why I did that is because when he does a screen capture, he does screen record himself using OBS, right? But usually, he does this almost as a reference. You can see himself, right? I don't like using the screen capture that has his camera because usually the quality is not as good. It's very dark and it can get grainy. So I just get like the footage from his main camera and they just shrink it down and I put it over here, right? So that's what you're seeing, right? Now, basically what I did here is when you select these two and you can right click on Premiere Pro, you have this thing called a nest. And that's what this thing does, right? It kind of like nested this group together. So you have two clips in one, right? Now, if we hop over to Davinci Resolve, they do the same thing, but it's called different, right? So if I go over here, all right, so say I got this two clip here, right? Instead of me having like, say like this on one clip on top of each other, you can actually select both of them. You can right click and it's called new compound clip. So you select the new compound clip and just give this a name. Be like, I don't know, small cam top corner, I don't know, top corner, whatever, hit create. And there you go. Now you created a compound clip where you have two clips in here, right? To keep it simple, I'll suggest maybe, right click, clip color, maybe change it. I don't know if you can change the default on this, we can do it automatically. But that way at least you can have a visual knowing that this has two clips inside of it, right? Now if you want to access it, what you do is you right click on it and it says open in timeline. And you open a new tab, a new timeline, and here's your clip, right? That way if you need to make any adjustments or whatever, you can do it, right? Whatever, right? So you go back to your main timeline, and as you can see here, it updated, right? Now if you want to like undo it, all you can do is a right click and you can say decompose in place using clips only. And boom, now it's not in a compound clip anymore, right? So it's the same thing as nesting like in Premiere Pro, but they just call it compounding, right? So yeah, let's keep that in mind. Just select it, right click, new compound clip, and there you go. I'm sure there is a way to like change it. Once like compounds, maybe you can change the color. I don't know. I'll figure it out later, but just let you know that's how you do it in Davinci Resolve. So yeah, I nest clips to make sure everything's more structured and organized, right? Now, if I zoom out here, if I look over here, this is me bitching about Premiere Pro and I have like 3 images on top of each other, right? This is a picture of me. It's the text and the icon for Adobe Premiere Pro, right? Now, we should leave it alone. It's not that big of a deal, but if for some reason, if they're like a bunch of images, stuck together, again, just to keep it more organized, I'll select them all. I'll right click, I'll nest, and then you name it, be like, I don't know, fuck Adobe, and there you go. You have it. It's the same shit, right? It just is more it's compounded. It's like, you know, nested. That way it takes up less layers, right? Because that's something I actually do aim to do with my editing. It's like I want to have like the least amount of layers possible, because, you know, once you start adding like a bunch of shit together, it becomes a mess, right? You know, I try to like use the least amount of layers as possible, so that's what I try to do. Also another thing, say like with audio, you know, I do label these things. You know, on my first video clip, that's where I have the main audio. The second clip, that's where I have like the screen capture. I have an adjustment layer. This one, basically all I'm doing is that when I enable it, it zooms in, right? So just like a quick zoom. So instead of me like adding like a scale to each individual clip, I could just enable this and it just zooms in quicker. And then this is like the top right image, you know, when he like does this like in news segments, right? Like so I can show you what he's talking about. And then you have your adjustment layer and your watermarks. With audio, same thing, right? Start from the middle down. So immediately from the main clip, I have his lavalier mic. Then from there, I have any other sound effects that I may use, right? So in this case, see, like, here's a sound effect, you know, like whatever it could be.
Probably just hallucinating, but...
This be like second. I'll usually have another layer of sound effects in case I need to, like, you know, overlap them or something. And then like the final audio layer track is gonna be that music, right? So again, learn to structure everything, learn to name everything. Don't just like leave them, you know, blank or whatever. Actually name it your layers and try to keep shit organized, right? And the cool thing is that, you know, you can do that with any clip, you know, audio. You can just double click on this guy and you can just say main audio. You know, there you go, right? So yeah, get into the habit of like naming your layers. You know, it'll make your life a lot easier. Okay, so that's kind of a quick rundown of like organizing your timeline. You definitely want to try to like use the least amount of layers as possible, right? All right, that's really all I can say about timelines, really. I mean, I know it looks like a mess, but I mean, like once you start to like develop your sequence, you know, like this layer is for your camera A, this one is for your, you know, screen capture, this one's for adjustment layer, so, you know, you can like, you know, I can do a quick zoom, no big deal. And then pretty much everything else on top of that is basically just like images that I insert to like show what Paul is talking about and so on and so forth. Adjustment layers and a watermark. It's not that big of a deal, really. Now, the thing I want to like end this video with is transitions, right? Now, I'm going to zoom in here and I want to show you guys something. Now, if we look between the clips of the audio, right? See this guy? That's basically a cross dissolve, you know? So between each cut, right, of the audio, you can see here it has a quick cross dissolve, right? That's in between audio clips, right? Now, between the video clips, I don't have anything, no cross dissolve, right? There's a reason for that. Basically, what I do when it comes to editing pause videos is that because it's a YouTube video, there's almost like that fast-paced feel that you kind of want that way to keep the people's attention going, right? It's something, there's like an energy that goes with it because, you know, pause is all talking all over the place, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Secondary channels, and PC gamers have been trying to sort out what it all truly means. Crypto crashing might be good for GPU prices, right? But if there's a recession, it usually means everyone has less money to buy PC hardware. And if inflation goes up, but GPU prices go down, does that put me in a better or worse position to buy? How much of my food budget?
So basically what I'm trying to show you here is like I don't have any like cross dissolve transitions in between the video clips, right? Because I just want that almost that attack, like that jump, you know, of Paul like going from one thing to another, right? It kind of helps keep the momentum of the video going, right? To keep that energy. So usually with video clips, when I'm editing pause videos, I never usually add clips or transitions between the cuts, right? It's always just like a straight cut. Now, the reason why I add a cross dissolve between the audio is because if you just have it a cut, sometimes you get a pop, and also like it does sound kind of nasty. It's like you hear like the cut between like the audio, right? So you want to make sure you have a cross dissolve between your audio clips always, right? Usually what I do is when there's like an audio clip, if we go to the preferences and the timeline, it says video transitions default. Audio transitions default. For audio transitions, it's a very small transition. It's just 2 frames. It's very tiny, but that actually makes a difference, right? Because like I said, if you just have a hard cut on audio, just like the video, you can have that jarring feel. You know, with audio, sometimes you're gonna get a pop, or you have that abrupt cut and it doesn't sound good, right? Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna solo this and I'm gonna delete these guys. Let's see if like, you can hear what I'm talking about.
Substantive matter, I will instead direct your attention to this cat playing video games on a tablet. It's a
Okay, do you hear that? It's almost like you hear that dip in volume, right?
to this cat playing video games on a tablet. It's a poignant reminder.
Yeah, you can hear it. It's almost, it goes mute for a second, right? It's like,
Your attention to this cat playing video games on a tablet. It's a poignant.
you know, see, hear that? Like, you know, it's kind of jarring, right? So we add like a cross dissolve here. It helps smooth it out.
Attention to this cat playing video games on a tablet. It's a poignant reminder of what.
Yeah, you know, it does help. You know, that little cross itself, it helps bridge that gap in between the clips so it doesn't sound as bad, right?
The joy of gaming and how it makes us contort our bodies in awkward.
Yeah, you know, it does help, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of things that's going on, like, say, like background noise and all that shit. If that changes or just any kind of like audio differences, the little cross itself is going to make a difference when if you don't have a transition there, right? So keep that in mind. Where I do add like transitions and video clips is when Paul's doing like a presentation of a new product, right? In this case, see like right here, I mainly do it for like the B-roll. And if Adobe wants to fucking work, Jesus Christ. Now, here's a good example of it.
Have the 12900KS, which is a slight upgrade from the 12900K. Intel's charging $800 instead of $600 for it, so it's really not the most practical CPU for most people. But like I said at the beginning of this video, we're not all about practicality here. We're about getting.
Now with the clip, this is 8 frames of a cross dissolve, right? And this one's just cross dissolve, you know, just simple, right? Just so it can be more smooth, right? So if I go to my video clips here, yeah, the video transition default, you know, always change that to 8 frames per second, right? So I actually have a macro on my mouse. So say when like there's a shortcut that I have for my keyboard. I hit T, and that opens up preferences for the timeline, right? And then I have a macro on my mouse where like if I want to switch this to 2 frames per second, there's I'll hit tab, hit 2, tab 2, then I hit enter, right? So that's my macro that I have on my mouse. So if I do that again, in this case, if I want to go back to 8 frames for a transition, I have another macro that does that for me. Boom, 8. T again. Say I want to go back to 2 frames per second, I got a macro on my mouse. Now it's 2, right? So yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to do that with my mouse, right? All right, now if we hop over to Davinci Resolve here, let's see, I'm making a few cuts. Actually, I just learned this. If you actually go to an edit and you right click over the cut, I think that's kind of cool that you're able to select what you want. Either 2 frame cross dissolve or 8:16, right? I just learned this. I think that's really cool, right? Same thing with the audio. You can actually go to Davinci Resolve here at the top left. You go to preferences. We're gonna select user, then go to editing, and then we're in the general settings. You're able to select your standard transition duration, right? So you can have either 8 frames or whatever you want. So basically, you can select a command to apply a standard transition duration, right? So in this case, let's say I just want something, I don't know, just make it extreme. I'm gonna do 20, right? Just so you can see what's going on. I can hit save. So now if I select these guys, I think it's Control T for PC. By hitting Control T, they'll apply the standard transition duration of 20 frames, right? Now obviously that's too much, but I'm trying to show you that's how you do it in like DaVinci, right? I think it's kind of cool that you are able to select different shortcuts for the different type of transition that you want. If you want it for only the video, or you add tradition to both the video and the audio, or only if you want to do it to the audio, right? That's kind of cool, right? But the thing is, I think it is kind of cool. Say if you make cuts here, you make a cut there. By holding Shift and Alt, you're able to select only the edit points, right? That way, you can make your, say if you want to like select, what was it? Shift T, that's for audio, and Alt T, that's for video, right? Let me undo that. So say you selected these guys and you only want to apply it to like the video. If you hold Alt T, yeah, it does like the video for you, right? Shift T adds the audio only, or you just hit Control T and that applies it for both, right? Yeah, there you go. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. Little features help like that. All right, this is, I just learned this. I just spent like a half hour trying to figure this shit out because that's what I do. But you can actually control multiple transitions in DaVinci. It's pretty cool. Let's say you select all these guys, right? If I hit Shift and Alt and I click and drag, it's gonna select my edit points, right? So I can hit Control and T, and then they'll apply the default transition, which is like 2 frames, right? Let's say for whatever reason I want to make the transitions in the video clips longer, right? I can actually select this guy, right? All of these, including the video clips. Now, if we go to our effects, go to video transitions, and then I just say, I click cross dissolve, and I put it at the top of here. What that's gonna do is it's gonna select all the clips and deselect the video clips, right? So now over here in the transition, as you can see here, it says timeline, multiple transitions. So now I'm able to double click here, and I'm able to like control how long I want the transition to be only for the video clips. I hit enter, I hit 10, and there you go, it's selected there. Right? I could do the same thing with the audio, right? I select these guys. I select both the transitions and the audio clips, right? So we go to audio transitions. Let's just say I crossfade again. I drop it into one of these transitions. Now it's going to deselect the audio clips, but my transitions for the audio is selected. And over here in the inspector, I got timeline multiple transitions selected. So in this case, now I can select this to whatever I want. Let's just say, I don't know, 20, just so we can see the difference. Hit enter, and boom, there you go. I'm able to control these guys individually, right? So I don't know. I thought that was kind of a neat trick. All right, that's enough for this video. There's more that was being asked in this comment from Broke Nerd. You know, you want to learn more about screen transitions, right? That way, you know, you can jump between topics and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll get into that in another video. But for this video thing, this is enough because, yeah, it's long enough. But anyways, I hope this helps. If you guys find the video helpful, I'll put some QR codes. If you guys want to help me buy some caffeine for my system, I'll appreciate it. If not, don't worry, it's cool. I'm still going to continue making these videos because I enjoy sharing what I know. Don't forget to leave a like and, you know, leave a comment or something. And yeah, I'll get back to you with another video in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit. Peace.